G'day everyone, how you all going? Welcome to day 430 looking at my bees and my beehive. Not quite sure if this is a weed or some sort of flower. We're going to let it flower, see what it's like, and if the bees like it, we'll let it grow. If it doesn't, then we'll just chop them down. Simple. Beautiful morning yesterday. Yeah, totally different day today. There's a bit of wind, a bit chilly. The sun feels like it wants to cook you alive, but that's about it. Welcome to Australia. The sun always feels like it wants to cook you alive. So let's have a look at the young ladies and see how they're going. I felt a spider web there. That's looking good. Oh, they're starting to fill that up again, which is looking good. They're active this morning, which is nice. Looking around, seeing how much water we've got in those cups. See how many ants are about as well, and seeing if they're going to need any water. It smells really nice. Well, the actives are coming in and out, so that's a good sign. I think they are bringing in some pollen. So there is something out there. So bees, you can't travel more than 5 k's away. Okay? You gotta stay home and then go out if you need to go out. We'll call this a mini lockdown. 5K 5-day lockdown challenge. Can you do it? Oh, I understand. It's the UK version of the virus, which is it's still going there, which is interesting. That seems to be okay there. Still a bit sticky there, but not much I can do about it. Give it a wipe down as best I can, and beautiful morning. So look at it as a 5K 5-day challenge. You can't complain. Well, I understand why we have to do it, because I mean there's only 11 people in the whole of Victoria that have this UK thing. It's just the governments aren't doing their job to basically do a proper quarantine on it. I said from day one we need a federal quarantine. We need places built, specifically built, right, in areas of Australia where they can take thousands upon thousands of people, or at least 1,000 at a time, or maybe more, even 10,000 people, and we can contain any potential virus there, right? So there won't be any outbreak, because the only way you can get out of the thing would be once you passed all your quarantine. And by the time you then interacted in society after the 2-week period, right, even if you had the UK virus, it would have been out of your system before you could go out to society. Now, the people who work there, I would have put the Army, Air Force and Navy and Federal Police and police into it as well, plus health professionals, border security and all that. And then I'd have those people in charge of and in the right spots, so they can't go home and say, oh, I finished my shift, I go home and I've been scanned, I haven't got the virus, but by the time they wake up they've got the virus and they spread it to the family and they didn't realise it, but they might not be working for 2 days or a week or longer, and they go, oh well, we've been cleared, and they then spread the virus in the community. This is the problem we're having today. So we need a federal, even if they had a vaccine, they can still carry the virus with them and still spread the virus. So that is another problem. So that's a false a false hope in having the vaccine. So what the federal government needs to do is what it should have done in the first place, is with the states, right, find areas and locations of each state and build a quarantine centre in each state. Once it's been built, federally controlled, and it's been properly built, so in such a way as where even if the person had one of those air things, it wouldn't affect, no one could get affected from it, you know what I mean? So much. Something a little fly on. And so once you do that, and you had the right personnel working there, so if the virus got out and got one of those personnel could not spread into the community because they'd be locked in an area that they can then be quarantined as well, and they can figure out how that person got the virus from all the protective gear and all that, if that makes sense. But that's just my personal opinion. I said this from actually January 2020, but that's okay. I'm no expert, but wow, I've said what a lot of experts have been saying and have said from 2020. I would have done this 2020 if I was in the government. Simple as that. Then we would have no community. We would literally have zero community outbreaks. And no place would be in the lockdown, or no border would be closed, because there'd be no way for it to get out of the quarantine zones or the quarantine bases the federal government would have built. I would have done that, but I'm just a nobody. It's pretty much just common sense, I'd say. But anyway, it's but many people are going to say, "Oh, it would have cost a lot of money to do that," and it still would. Yeah, but then how much money has the country lost or hemorrhaged since the virus has happened without doing it? All the lockdowns and everything else that has affected the economy. We would have had the best economy in the world if we did it the proper way the first time. We'd have zero community outbreaks even today, and we would have, the economy would just be booming. There'd be no one, pretty much almost next to no one out of work, because if there's no virus in the community, there's no need to have the distances and all that, because the viruses are kept in the proper places. So people who come into the country will be quarantined. The people looking after them can't leave that area, right? Because that's their job, first of all, and second of all, if they get the virus, they can be quarantined, and they can't get into the community. It's that simple. But gee, our federal government's pack of bloody useless pricks, and putting them into hotel quarantine is a good idea, but it's a bad idea, because the air conditioning, everything else, the close quarters, hotel is not designed to efficiently quarantine people who have a disease like this. And it's long overdue to build these centres, because what happens if the next outbreak happens? Oh, we're going to put them in a hotel quarantine, but then we find that might fail completely, and it spreads in the community, and it's 100% deadly. Now, if that happens, right, without this knowledge the government's supposed to know now, right, with the knowledge the government's supposed to know now, then who's to blame on that one? What a crow over there. I haven't seen a crow for a while. Hello. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, who's to blame then for the lack of building infrastructure like that, even though we might not need it. But if we build it now, we can use it now while the virus is in effect in the world, and then also use that in the future. And use it for something else, or use it for quarantine, stuff like that. For in the future, just make it part of people's livelihoods in the future. They go to these quarantine places, they get quarantined, and then they go about the daily business once there's nothing been detected. Well, that's just my rant and rave, and we've got to live here can't go further than 5 k's for 5 days. That's okay. Lock's Pork's about 5.5 k's long. Oh, well, you all take it easy, everyone, and have a great day. I've done my rant for almost 10 minutes, and the bees are doing well. I'm happy with that. You all have fun and stay safe.